I spent 4 hours crying in 2024, which is pretty time efficient if you look at my cry count. And actually my cry and poop count negatively correlates, but it's not statistically significant. I tracked my time 24/7 for 2 years. I noticed when I started living my life more intentionally and making sure I spend my time in alignment with my goals, I became happier and had more energy. No more burnout, no more procrastinating on my dream life. I developed these systems after years of experimentation, and now people say it's changed their lives too. Because if you don't intentionally create this life for yourself, your time will just be spent and you're not going to get that back. So I teach these systems in depth in my course, which you can find in the description. But today I just want to share with you some key learnings. Number one, the most important learning is to be okay with imperfection. I have examples about how this has improved my life, from communication and relationships to just getting my notes organized. For example, I am usually an avoidant person. Maybe it's like an eldest daughter in Asian family thing. You know, I never share my feelings because I'm like, you know, I don't even know if this is accurate. It's not perfect. I have to communicate it perfectly. But once I got rid of that, I was able to foster deeper connections with people because I would be like, this is how I feel, or I don't know how I'm feeling about this, but this is what I think right now. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The other person can ask questions to clarify, but just saying something is better than staying silent because otherwise assumptions will fester. The other thing is notes. My notes are very messy because I know that they can be imperfect. I'm taking notes because I want to have better thinking. I take my notes for inspiration and reference. And when you try and organize things and make everything look nice, taking notes becomes more about making it look pretty, and it becomes too intimidating and you never go back to it. Whereas if you just are okay with this imperfection and messiness, you can actually find a lot more use in your notes and foster better thinking. Another thing is I like to keep a wins document and just putting all the compliments I get and things that I'm proud of in there every day or every week helps me become a lot more confident, and that also helps with my perfectionist tendencies. So my default no's list helps me set healthy boundaries because if you give so much to others, you might not have any left for yourself, and I find that I'm my best self when I take care of myself first, and then I can end up giving more to others. And this default no list also helps me set my priorities so I can actually do things that give me energy and are in alignment with my goals. All these templates are in my course, by the way. Another thing I use and teach in my course is your life in weeks. So after putting my age in here and seeing how much time I really have left in my life and how much time I spent like not living intentionally and letting others spend my time for me, I was like, okay, I need to get my life together, and this really helped me visualize and prioritize what is important to me and make sure that my habits are aligned with my goals. Just search your life in weeks. I have a link to it in my course as well, and seeing that visualization helps you reframe your thinking. So that's being okay with imperfection. The next learning is I found that my happiness scores are the highest when I spend time with loved ones like friends, family, and in my relationship. This is actually backed up by a lot of psychology studies, and actually in 2022, this is when I kind of started building out my system. I remember on Halloween, I was not invited to any parties and I was really sad, just alone in my room, you know, going on my phone and being sad, feeling sorry for myself. And after that, I set a goal to prioritize my relationships and friendships more. And instead of waiting to be invited to parties, I would be the one to put in that effort and host parties. I wanted to be the friend that I wish that I had. So the next year, in 2023 Halloween, I got invites to like 3 parties and I couldn't go to any of them because I was sick, but I really felt like the intention that I put into the effort, the energy, the time that I put into friendships throughout the year after 2022, it really, like, I just saw the fruits of my effort, and 2023 ended up being my happiest year because I just started being more intentional with my time after I started tracking it. I started writing down at least 5 things I was grateful for every day, and it just made me a happier person. So that mindset shift in 2022 to 2023 was, you know, I went from why am I so alone, nobody understands me, to me putting in the effort to understand other people as well and like trying. So I had to change the way that I thought and set up systems to make sure I don't slip back into those old patterns. So I set up my habits every day, every week, every month. I do these reflections, and it's just helped me become a much happier person who lived life with intention, and I'm very careful about how I spend my time to make sure it aligns with my goals, because our time is limited and we don't get it back. Next is focus. So this was something I had to learn the hard way, and honestly, many startups died because of this lack of focus. And if you can't really run a company without this, like how can you even run your life without this? So the way that I use this is I divide my life into these specific categories. You can see it in my course, you can see it in my Notion templates. It's growth, career and finance, creativity, health, and social life. And every single season of my life, whether that's a few months, a few weeks, or the whole year, I focus on one of these categories and I pick one goal that I can focus on in that time period. You can check out my goal setting video. I posted a lot about how I reverse engineer my goals and turn them into habits and systems to make sure I'm always working towards them, and also reflecting on them every month or so to make sure I'm still on track. The way I do it is I have a brain dump of everything I'm thinking first, because I just want to get rid of that perfectionism and just dump all my thoughts. And it's so freeing because it's just a very messy, not grammatically correct, not structured list. Then I list my exact specific goal state. So like it could be, you know, run a 5K or make 20K a month. Then you want to reverse engineer from that goal state and think, what are the steps it takes to get there? And on the first step, what is a habit that I can do right now, or like for the next week, for the next month, to get me to that step? And then since you're like already goal planning, you have all this energy, don't just sit there and be like, I'll work on this tomorrow. You have to make a list of to-dos that you can do right now to set up systems to set you up for success. So that could look like setting a calendar reminder, setting out your running clothes, or creating a blank document. So for example, if you wanted to start your own business, one of your habits could be every single morning before work or every day while brushing my teeth. So it's very important to have that time indicator there. You will search up at least one business idea and put it in a document. So your to-dos right now could be make the document, and you want to visualize the transformation that you'll get from where you are now to the goal state. So where you are now could be something like, you know, you have just a blank document in front of you. And 1 week from now, you'll have, if you come up with one startup idea a day, you'll have 7 ideas in that document. So then you become excited about, you know, going through this process and reaching the end result. So you're more likely to be consistent. And the reason why this focus is so important is I found that when I had too many goals, there were too many things that I had to do, and I just got overwhelmed and I pushed it off and procrastinated and didn't make progress on any of them. Like, I feel like it's kind of like juggling. That's why people talk about juggling too many tasks, because it's very hard to learn how to juggle. And for me, it's just a lot easier to throw one ball and catch it. And that's why I focus on one thing. It's important to remember you can always focus on other things later in the future. So like, let's say for the first quarter of the year, 3 months, you're gonna dedicate your time to this. You're gonna learn as much as you can, make progress, and if it doesn't work out, it's fine. You move on to the next thing that you wanna try. But if you spend 6 months trying like multiple things, usually I find that I don't really make as much progress as I want than if I had just split up my focus, not split up my focus, but if I had just split up the goals and focused on one at a time. Then as the months go by, I'm like, wow, I actually made so much progress. I'm so glad I did it one at a time. Because if your goals are really that important to you, then why don't you work towards them? A lot of people, they end up scrolling on their phones. If you have time to watch this video, right? A lot of them, you know, they make excuses for themselves. They're like, you know, I'm too busy with work. Like, I don't have time. I have other obligations. I don't have energy. But honestly, setting up your goals and setting yourself up for success starts with that mindset. Because if you have time to scroll on your phone, then you have time to work towards your goals. And a lot of it, it's like, oh, I procrastinate, like I can't do this. You know, it's hard. I get it. There's a lot of distractions. But if you set up these systems and reverse engineer from your goals so the next steps are very clear, then it becomes a lot easier to work towards your goals. And you're kind of like voting for your dream life with every action you take. And especially with the time passes, because you never get that time back. When the time passes, like, you know, where do you want to be a year from now? You know, somebody who sticks with their goals and are consistent with them. So a year from now, all those habits pile up and you're living your dream life. Or somebody who's like, oh, I'll do it later. You know, I'm too tired. You know, you're making these excuses for yourself. And a year later, you're just stuck exactly where you are. You know, you have to think about what kind of person you want to become, how important your goals are for you. And a way to do that easier is setting up these systems. So, you know, it becomes as easy as brushing your teeth every day. And that's what I teach during my course. I help you set up these systems that work for you. You know, you want to work with your energy, with your ADHD, with whatever hectic schedule you have instead of against it, because it really starts with the way that you think about yourself. Like, I'm too lazy, I'm not disciplined, I'm not consistent. If you think that way, then you'll never make progress. So I try to help you set your goals, reverse engineer them, create a system, help you get organized, help you with that mindset so that you can finally make progress towards your dream life instead of delaying it. That's all for this week, and I hope you found this video useful. If you did, comment goals and one action you are going to take today to work towards your goals. It could be as simple as watching my video about how to set up your goals in more depth, or even just like changing the way that you think about yourself. Like, you're not lazy, you're not disciplined, you can be consistent. Everything all your actions can flow from your thoughts, and you can make a lot more progress that way. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the comment section.